In my point of view, a CIO should moderate the process to get the answers. I don't think that a leader should have all the answers. You need a good architecture, you need a good governance. If you don't have that and they just are responsible for their silo, you will have a not manageable architecture 5 years in future. You have to understand what's going on for the future. You have to be like a mountain guide. You have to know what's going on. I think as a leader you have to have the knowledge to ask the right questions. I just ask the questions and I get the creativity out of my team. Just give them the responsibility, just listen to them, just follow their needs.
This is CIO and IT TV. My name is Hendrik Deckers. I'm here today in Köln with Anke Sax. Anke, very warm welcome.
Thank you.
Anke is originally from the Baden region of Germany. She has a master in economics, PhD in information management, over 30 years of experience in the banking industry, 15 years on the business side, 15 years on the IT side. In companies such as the Commerzbank, Daimler Financial Services and DWP Bank. You've been CIO for the last 5 years and you have been voted German CIO of the Year of 2019. Congratulations again for that.
Thank you.
So Anke, I would wanted to start this conversation with you talking about a couple of the accomplishments and the successful programs that you've run over the last couple of years. What is the program that you're most proud of that you have delivered?
I'm most proud of my team. Let me tell you 2 examples what we did. We did a fantastic job on the provider consolidation and in developing a strategy. Let me start with the provider consolidation, the challenges and the success. When I started in the bank, they tried for 2 years to consolidate infrastructure providers from 3 to 1. The project was deep red, heavily struggling. My team was exhausted and frustrated. So it was getting worse every day.
Yeah. And you needed to consolidate 3 different infrastructure providers.
To 1.
Into 1. Okay.
Into 1. They tried it for 2 years when I started.
And what was the problem then?
That was the first thing I had to understand. What was the problem? And I spoke to my staff members, I spoke to the providers, to the management, and then I understood what this problem was. And it was very amazing that everyone knew the problem. So they knew the problem, they tried it for 2 years, but they didn't change it. So the problem was the totally different idea about the responsibilities. So it was a little bit like Mikado game. No one wants to take the first step. So I opened the discussion. They gave me a plan. And the biggest task for them was to convince the board that they have to change the basis of this project. So I went to the board. That's normally the job of the CIO, of the leader. I went to the board and said, okay, this is the new plan and we can stick to the plan. We have to share the responsibilities. We convinced the board and then we delivered in 18 months in time, quality and budget based on the new program.
Okay. So it was all about communication and about taking responsibility.
It was all about communication and taking responsibilities and don't have the fear to tell the truth.
Okay. So you would say one of your qualities as a leader, as a CIO, is to understand what people really mean and get to the root cause of problems.
Yeah, I think it should be the basis knowledge of a leader to get through the point where the problem is. And if you understand the problem, the solution is much easier if you just try to solve a problem you haven't understood.
Okay. And did you have to use these qualities in the second program as well, where the second was all about building a strategy for the company, for the bank?
The second was building an IT strategy for the bank, and it always starts with the strategy of the company. And I think it's very important to understand the culture of the company, what is important for the company, how is the company, and you get this information as well in talking to people, to ask them what they think about the bank, to ask them what they think is good, what can be improved. So I spoke to customers, former customers, potential customers, managers, staff members, consultants, competitors, to understand how the company is and what is the key competence of this company.
Yeah.
And once again, if you know this, the next step is much easier. So we thought, and we put this to an idea, that this company is responsible to make it easy for the customer. Our competitor wants to make it cheap for the customer. But we want to be premium, and we also have good skilled people, so we aren't able to make it cheap. So make it easy for the customer.
Okay. And do you think it's the role of the CIO to be busy with the strategy of the company? I mean, developing the IT strategy, the digital strategy, of course, but how do you look at that?
I think a CIO is a role as every other C-level role. So as a CIO, as CFO, so you're responsible for the whole company as well responsible for your department. So yes, I think it's important for a CIO to understand the strategy. Based on this strategy, build your IT strategy. Okay.
So what you're saying, in fact, is also as a CIO, you need to start with the why of the company.
Yep.
Why are we in business? And what is it that we need to do in order to reach our goals and to have the right strategy to service our clients?
Yeah, and as well, read in between. So it's not this, sometimes not this written strategy. You have to understand the culture, Drucker culture strategy for breakfast. You have to understand this. And then based on this, make it happen. I give you some example how we made it. So our first idea was we want to make it easy for the customer. We don't want to make it cheap, we want to make it easy for the customer. So I asked my staff members, what do you think is easy for our customers? In the run business, in the change business, and in the migration, migrate the people to our systems. And it was pretty easy for them to answer these questions. They answered fast and precisely. It was amazing. So they really knew what is easy for the customer. In the second step, I extended the team and said, okay, you think about what should be changed from today that we are delivering more easily for the customers in change, in run, and in the migration. So I had project leads and developers, testers, business analysts, and they answered this question. And every team gave me 30 to 40 ideas, what should be changed. I asked them the second time about a rough cost estimation. And that can take half a year till you get this rough cost estimation. But once again, they made it very easy. They just put the ideas on a card, the cost estimation idea on a card. All the team members, 5 to 10, and then they discussed it the second time. Why did you think it's 50 person days? Why do you think it's 100 person days? And then they said, okay, for this ideas, 60 person days. So my job, so after this, we had 100 ideas with 5,000 to 10,000 person days. So how to prioritize? Once again, we could have asked the customers or the managers, the board members, but why the hell we don't ask the departments, the people who already...
So the team itself decided on the priorities?
They decided on the priorities, they got votes, and they voted for the ideas.
Okay.
Then my task was just to sum up the votes. So we had the winners. And then, okay, that was the next step to do, put it on a manageable milestone plan. And then we had a milestone plan, what should we deliver in 2019, 20 and 21. In 2019 we already delivered. So, but it was the job of the team And that's why I'm so proud of my team. They answered all my questions and they put it together, and now it was their strategy or our strategy, then we can go for it.
Yeah. So the how to implement the strategies and in what order and so on, all that comes out of the team.
All that comes out of the team. They know exactly which resources we have, what is the context, what is important, which other projects we have. So they have a good idea what is important for the customers, and they are able to put it together. And if it doesn't fit, I just think, oh, maybe this project, why do you think it should be prioritized to that project? And then we can, if they have good arguments, it's okay.
Yeah.
And if not, if you say, okay, maybe you're right, and then once again, it's our decision how we make it. And then project management starts. Then strategy finished, and then project management starts.
So if you look at, let's say, delivery, team, strategy, what is for you the right order?
Always start with the team. Always start with the team. So you have to understand the strength of your team. You have to understand what they love to do. And if you give them something what they love to do, they will deliver in a fantastic way.
Okay. So you would say team, strategy, delivery.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's talk more about these three topics. Let's talk about the team first. So what is your management style? How do you build successful teams? What is your secret ingredient? I mean, you're a very rational person. So what is your secret ingredient to build successful teams?
I just want to understand my people. What are their needs, what they love to do, and where they smile, where they're really energetic. So I get this information through careful listening and observation. And in a big department or a bigger department, normally you can give them the positions, you can give them the jobs where they have this smile on their face. And if not, sometimes it isn't possible. If you tried it and they get an honest no, they understand why they have to do this job for the next 6 months because it's important for the company. So it always starts, in my point of view, with treat them as adults, listen to them, and try to reach their needs.
Now, you have a business background. Your studies are in business. You're not an IT engineer. So how do you manage big teams of very specialized people without being able to really understand the nitty-gritty of everything? How do you do that?
Okay, I don't really understand the nitty-gritty. That's right, but I understand a lot. I understand enough to ask the right questions, and I understand enough to understand where the structure isn't round, where I have to look in. And if you talk to different people, and I also talk to consultants, researchers, not only in the company, to other CIOs, what do they do, how is their cloud strategy, where they look in, then you're able to ask the right questions. And in my point of view, a CIO, a leader, should moderate the process to get the answers. I don't think that a leader should have all the answers. In a VUCA world, that isn't possible, and it is not desirable.
No.
And I really think if your people know that you need their answers and that you rely on their answers, and they see that this changes things, then they trust you, and then they go for the success.
So it's even a good thing that you don't know everything, so that you don't overrule, and that you don't think you have better ideas to do this, but that you listen to it and that you analyze their input and as such come up with a strategy that is driven or supported by the team.
I think you're more open-minded if you don't have this detailed information. And I also think when I would have started as engineer 20 or 30 years ago, I can't have the answers of today. I always need people to give me the answers. And I'm one person, and I have a department of 300 people. have to have more knowledge than I ever can have.
Yeah, of course. Let's talk about the delivery part and about organization. Organizational design of IT is so important. And if I look back over the last 20 years, we have waves coming and new systems, new ways to organize IT organizations. Every 5 or 10 years, we need to reorganize things. In your experience today, in the banking context, what are the best ways, best practices to organize IT and digital, let's say, in banks?
Let me start with the role of the CIO. For me, it's very important that this CIO is a role as every other C-level role. So he is responsible for the whole company as well for his department, the technology, architecture, infrastructure, security, and so on. So a CIO has to understand the business as well as the technology. And in this way, I would organize the IT departments. So I would have business-related ITs. They should be structured in the same way as the business units, normally based on products or services. And they are responsible for how to deliver the product, how cheap or expensive is this product, which quality should be delivered for the best serve of the customer. And I have these business-related ITs, normally business analysts and developments. I would also recommend that you should have a good governance, a strong governance, and a run business. They are responsible for the architecture, they are responsible for the industrialization of IT as well as for the processes. So standardization and automation. And then I would treat the business-related ITs and the business as one company for one product. I would give them budgets, I would give them responsibilities, and they should be able to prioritize in their area. If you have a strong governance, if you have a strong run business who ensures the stability and the architecture, you can do this. That's the way I would organize. So you have business-related ITs structured like the businesses, combined with the business.
Vertical
matrix organization, yes.
And then you have horizontal infrastructure governance and security and so on. Okay. You talked about the role of the CIO. How have you seen that this has changed over let's say, the last 5-10 years? What was the role of a CIO 10 years ago? What is it today? And what's your crystal ball? How is this going to change in the future?
So I don't think we have seen so many CIOs 10 years ago. So for me, the change is from an IT leader to a CIO. An IT leader delivers according to demand. A CIO is responsible for the whole company. He's a strategic partner. He has to understand the business and put the business and technology knowledge together to discuss with the business units the best strategy, the best products, and how to serve the products. So that's for me the big change from an IT leader having only the technical skills, deliver according to demand, to a CIO as more this holistic view, what should be done for the business, for the company.
Yeah.
And going forward, I would think that a CIO, as all the other C-levels, should have excellent leadership skills and moderation skills to form teams and bring them together, form a culture that they love to succeed.
Do you think in 5 or 10 years we will still talk about the IT department, or will IT have completely integrated with the business units?
I don't think it's a good idea to completely integrate IT in the business units. I think we need the IT departments. I think you have these business-related ITs connected in a deep collaboration to the business units, but you also have to have a strong governance. So that we are able to deliver in the same way, standardized and automized. So yes, I think we need an IT department ensures this architecture, industrialization, security, stability overall. And I really think you need to know how to do this. And I don't think that a business leader is able to ensure this, or business leaders are able to ensure this in a whole company.
Okay. There's a war for talent out there, right? And you've worked most of your business life in Frankfurt and around Stuttgart and in the banking industry, where there's a huge demand for top talent. So what is your way to make sure that you attract the best possible people in your teams? That you attract top talent and that you keep them, that you retain them, and that you make them successful. How do you do that? Because the competition is huge, no?
I think it's very important to involve them and that they know that they are responsible for the things, that they make the change, that they are the key for this company, and not the leader. So that they don't deliver according to demand, that they are responsible for the company, that they make their dreams happen, that they are involved in the success of the company. So how do I do that? I listen carefully. I'm good in observation, so I know what they love to do, and know where they're strong in, maybe better than they know, because sometimes you don't know your strength. And put teams together, give them the responsibility, trust them, support them, and ensure that they can have success with the circumstances I give to them.
So how would you describe your leadership style? Are you more like a servant leadership style or visionary leadership? What is your leadership style?
Maybe a combination of that. So I think a leader is responsible for the circumstances, for how the people are able to work. So I'm the person who helps people to do their jobs. That's my job. And you need to understand their needs. You need to understand what you can change, and that is your responsibility to change this, that they can make their work easier. And the next thing is, that's for today and also for the future. So you have to be visionary. You have to understand what's going on for the future. Yep. You have to be like a mountain guide. You have to know what's going on. That's also the thing. But always in a way to help the people in doing their jobs. They're much better in doing their jobs than I ever can be. And to give them support and help that is able for them to succeed.
Okay. On your leadership, what do you think people will say about you when you're not around?
I would say they say it's hard to work for her. It's very exhausting, but it's also a lot of fun to work with her. We succeed, and I learned a lot how to deal with people, how to form teams.
You put a lot of emphasis on listening skills and communication skills. Could you give an example of that?
We had it was interesting. It was so lovely. In the offsite, we had a coach, and she said the question was, do we need more business analysts in future or less? That was the question, and then 30% said more and 70% said no. And then we trained this, and it was amazing that the part was that we need more business analysts, gave the best argument to the others. And the others only were asked for to repeat the argument. The only thing was to repeat the argument. And it was so difficult for both of them. and they really learned that they have to send better, more clearly, and they have to listen better. So, and this make me better approach. And then, if you understand the argument, don't kill it. Just think about what is good in this argument. What can you share, and where you have problems, and then put it all together. And if you have this culture, you're really good at it.
Okay. One of the topics that comes back in many of the interviews that we do is that organizations are setting themselves up to be agile organizations, and IT is taking a leading role in that. What is your experience and your view of making companies more agile?
It depends what you think, what agile is. what I think is good at Agile, this business-related IT and this business IT put together, and they are responsible like a company. So you give them responsibilities. I really love this idea about Agile. And they just try and they just go for it. And they are allowed to make mistakes or failures and learn out of that.
Yep.
That's what I really love about Agile. What I also think is you need a good leadership. Don't leave them alone. Don't tell them this is your product, this is your budget, just go for it. So you need a good architecture, you need a good governance, you need a good structure, how they can go for it. If you don't have that and you have 50, 60 tribes, squads, and so on, and they just are responsible for their silo, you will have a not manageable architecture 5 years in future.
Okay. Let's talk a bit about what drives you in your work. When you come back at home from work at Friday evening, what is it that really made your week or made your day?
I love to make the difference. And there are so many studies that people don't love to go to work, that they don't love their work, that they just go for work to earn the money, and that they're frustrated on Fridays and they don't love to go to work on Mondays. I understand that for some jobs, but I don't understand that for banker or IT jobs. They are neither dangerous nor dirty, neither boring nor exhausting. So I don't understand this, why so many people go to work and don't love to go to work. And I want to make the difference because I think a leader is responsible for his team, how they experience their work week and how they experience their work life.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to do so. Just give them the responsibility, just listen to them, just follow their needs. Do you know, maybe you know McGregor, the X and the Y theory?
No.
It comes out of the 60s. And it's true today as it was in the 60s. McGregor states that some leaders think their employees are lazy and stupid, don't want to go to work, so you need punishment and reward that they do the work. That's the X. And the other way around is a Y. And if you think as a Y, you think your staff members love to go to work, they're clever, they have perfect ideas, they want to help the company and the colleagues. So, and as well, there are so many studies who shows that if you think your people are lazy and stupid, or pupils or students, they are lazy and stupid. And if you think they are great, they are great. So, so for me, the best week is when some of my staff members grow and learn something he didn't know before and is proud of that. So then I see that they love to go to work, and then it was a wonderful week.
Okay.